All right, here goes nothing. Apparently, we are live. We are live, going on YouTube for the day. So, yeah, yeah, we're actually live. It appears we are live, y'all. This is exciting. How exciting is this? How exciting is this? So, I'm just gonna test to see if this actually works. Hello. And does hello actually work? I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully it does for you because I can't see much of anything here. Uh, Title. I should probably edit title. And instead of Money Matters live stream, we're gonna go to the moon. All right. So here we go. Okay. Maybe this is going to happen. Okay, so here we go. I guess we are officially live. We are broadcasting typically only on onedealaway.com/live, but today for a very special reason because Nev wants to figure out if he can figure out how to do YouTube. I've been trying to do YouTube for forever and I can't figure it out. I am that idiotic. But I wanted to go in and come in, and today we're going to be talking a lot about Bitcoin. We're going to be looking at the news and the rates and all kinds of cool things. I do want to welcome everybody who is watching this live. I welcome you. I'm excited that you're here. I know it's like wicked early. Typically, we go live at 7 a.m., but because I had no clue how this is going to work out, am I going to be able to go live, not be able to go live? I decided if I start early and doesn't work, I still have time to pivot and be ready to go live early. So typically, we're going to do these at 7 a.m. as opposed to 6:30 a.m. But it is Saturday and it is November 21, and we do these shows early in the morning because a lot of times what we uncover and discover and talk about in the show, well, it could be highly beneficial. I do want to welcome everybody watching this live. If you're watching a replay, hey, thanks for joining as well. And of course, this also ends up being saved and streamed on many different podcasting platforms. So if you're listening, welcome as well. Today is an exciting day. We're going to be talking about a bit of a U.S. coup. Maybe. I don't know. You tell me how you feel about it. And it has a lot to do with the U.S. working with the private companies to work with the stable coin to actually support Venezuela. Yes, believe it or not, that's what's going on. We're also going to be talking about, is there a Bitcoin shortage? And many people are saying, yes, it's a real thing. This is what's driving the price. And with the price being well over $18,000, approaching 19, and soon to break the $20,000 level that we've seen back 3 years ago, plus minus a month. So that's one piece that is really exciting. And we're seeing many different individuals in large companies starting to invest in their treasuries into the Bitcoin. And we're going to be taking a look at all of that stuff, as well as taking a look at what's happening in the business. So if you're a business owner, you have PPP loans, we're going to take a look at that stuff as well. We have a ton of things to cover. And one of the things is that more likely than not, we won't be able to cover everything. But whatever we don't cover today, well, we're going to be covering tomorrow. All right, y'all. Are we ready? Let's do this. All right, y'all, and good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what? Let's get started. Let's get started. No time to waste. Let's go straight into the top 100 coins by market cap. Let's refresh this puppy, make sure we're getting the freshest of the news. Because, sometimes I pull it up while I'm researching and it changes. And of course, it changed this time slightly to the downside. So, where are we today? Well, Bitcoin at the moment stands at $18,551.69. Thank you very much. Up 1.5% over the course of 24 hours and 13.6% in 7 days. Wow, that's a whopping thing that just has gone up. ETH has performed incredibly well as well. It broke 500 yesterday, I believe. We've been holding above it. It didn't do anything like miraculous since then, but it is steadily holding at $510.76, up 1.5%, up 7.3 in 7 days. Then we look at the XRP. XRP has been performing ridiculously well, up 22% in 24 hours, y'all. But it sounds like, from what I could see in some of the news that I was researching this morning, it looks like there's some sort of forking potentially happening with XRP, where you can actually get some airdrop of brand new coins. So that could be the reason why more people are piling in, because, well, the goal is you want to get as many coins as you possibly can from all over the place. And hey, if you can get yourself an airdrop, why wouldn't you do it? It's free, right? So it's free money. And if it performs well, cool. Your bags are heavier and bigger and hopefully greener. And if it doesn't do anything, well, at least, you were like, all right, at least they didn't pay anything for it. So that might be a reason why XRP is going up, but let me know what you think. Chainlink has gone up, slightly up, 0.8% 24-hour period. It's holding steadily above $14. As you know, it has reached the time, I think it was an all-time high, about 20 bucks or so. It has come back down to about like 9 bucks, and it has been coming back up really nicely. Litecoin has been holding steadily, up 1% in 24 hours, 25.9% in 7 days, y'all. And it's a holding price at $82.49. Since Bitcoin Cash, they had that fork, what was it, like last week, earlier this week, I can't remember. And they're still holding up, and look, they're pumping. They pumped 5.2% in 24-hour period, 3.2 in 7 days. And of course, Polkadot is doing well over the 7 days. It's slightly down, almost 3% in the 24-hour period. All right, let's take a look at what's happening really in the market. So XRP is winning in a 24-hour period. OMG is second place at 17.8%, ADA 12.6, Nexo 11.9, Balancer 11.8, XLM 11.3. So you can see there's a lot of really good pumps on the dumping end of things. Nothing huge, it's single digits. And Aave, shockingly enough, is down 6.8% and leading the losing end of things, although they have pumped 15.1% in 7 days, and they have been performing really, really well. So we'll see kind of how it all plays out. YFI, YFI, however you want to call it, negative 5.5%. In 24-hour period, holding now at $26,834.95. But this coin has pumped 49.6% in 7 days. CRV is the next one with negative 5.1. Again, it pumped 25.2. So a little bit of slump on the DeFi end of spectrum. But I don't think that this is DeFi kind of like goes in, goes out. When you have Bitcoin sort of like starts going sideways, people jump into DeFi. When the Bitcoin starts pumping in, people go back into Bitcoin. So it's a very interesting kind of thing to take a look at. I don't know. Again, that's just kind of how I see it. So, and then let's see a 7 day. The biggest gainer is Sushi. Sushi 70.9%, y'all. Biggest gainer in 7 days. Again, I am not crazy about this one. Probably just because they're like a pirate of Uniswap. And I don't know. I'm not attached to the Uniswap. I just kind of have an issue when you pirate something. So anyways, that's just kind of how I feel. Since we're talking about markets, let's really quickly switch over to the traditional markets of the stocks because it's important. While we have sort of decoupled, it still kind of affects it. So I like to take a look at and compare. So S&P 500 in a 5 day, it's down, y'all. And if you're thinking, well, maybe Dow Jones is doing better, not so much. Still down. They have been coming down. Nasdaq actually was down on Friday, but up a 5 day period, not by a lot, but I would presume maybe Tesla has something to do with it. The gold, because everybody compares, Bitcoin to gold, and which one is better. And Peter Schiff is huge on saying, gold is the thing that you want to do and forget the Bitcoin. And I think part of the reason, God bless Peter, you got to pump your own stuff. You got to pump your own stuff. And, nobody owns or controls Bitcoin. And so, what are you going to do? You're going to sell your stuff. Of course, you're going to sell your stuff. So as you can see, gold actually has come down. Again, I don't have anything against gold. I think it does have a nice little hedge against what's happening with the fiat. But again, there are definitely some downsides to the gold. Part of it is, what the heck are you going to do with the whole thing? If you got to move and stuff, like, it's not easy to transfer and stuff. So anyways, silver is down as well over the 5 days. And of course, the treasury yield, well, treasury yield has coming down. Look at this. Down, slightly up, down, slightly up, down, slightly up. So I think we're going to see this continue to happen. And you know what? When that happens, well, there's something good that comes out of the yield going down for, for the treasury. And that is this. Mortgage refinance rates are now at 2.625 average. So there you go. If you're thinking of refinancing your home, well, that's the thing you want to do. All right. I promise we're going to do some stuff with the crypto. So here we go. Here we go. Let's take a look at this stuff. U.S. government used USDC stablecoin to bypass Venezuela's Maduro. And Circle is involved, if you can believe it. So what in the world is going on? Let's take a look. So Circle, alongside with Coinbase, issues the USDC stablecoin, announced today that it has coordinated with the U.S. government and Latin American crypto exchange RTM to route aid for Venezuelan healthcare workers through their country's government in exile. So what they basically did is they partnered up, right? So you have Circle and you have Coinbase and partnering with the government. So when they say government is going to ban crypto, I'm like, why would they partner with the companies if they are banning them? It doesn't make sense. Now, again, everything is possible. Anything is possible, especially in the crazy 2020, right? But, I kind of think about, why would you do that? That's a lot of work. And why would you do that? So anyways, U.S. Treasury Federal Reserve released seized funds to the Guaido government account at a U.S. bank. And the government then uses the funds to mint USDC. And then USDC is then sent to the AirTM. And then once it hits their wallets, they can actually go to the Venezuelan health workers in the form of Air USD. And of course, they will own the fiat-backed stablecoin, and recipients can then withdraw, spend, and do all kinds of other things. Now, if you know anything about the Venezuela and stuff, you know that they're going through a lot of financial crisis right now. I mean, their inflation is through the roof. There's the whole, who is the president of the whole country? Oh, wait, there's another country that is dealing with that. Who is the president? I'm thinking it might have something to do with US and A, maybe in that order. I don't know. I'm not saying we're there yet. We're definitely not. But it's kind of funny, we pick on some of the countries that struggle with that stuff, and then, you look at a home and you're like, we're dealing with the same stuff here. We too don't know who the president is. But anyways, they have apparently, one sort of quote unquote elected. Is it true? Is it not? I don't know. But the U.S. is saying, no. We don't support you. We support this other guy. So we're going to send money to him, and so that he can actually fund the folks out there. And they're going to try to utilize crypto to do that stuff. So even though U.S. is saying, you know what, we want nothing to do with Venezuela, we're not going to send them dollars, there's a dollar shortage over there. Maduro, of course, is saying you can't have dollars, and now they're saying, well, we're just going to use USDC, and it's not even CBDC issued by the government. It's actually issued by private crypto companies. Now, speaking of private crypto companies, there's news coming in from OCC. And that is going to make it potentially easier for crypto businesses to actually get into traditional banking. So, of course, you know that the OCC stands for U.S. Office of Controller Currency. And they want to ensure and end the silent discrimination against crypto businesses, as well as some of the other businesses. Like if you're in a payday loan kind of business, they don't want you in the bank. Like you are one of the individuals, you're one of the businesses that can't get a bank account and you're banned. And OCC is saying this practice has got to stop. And what they're saying is you got to go out there and actually evaluate each business as opposed to the industry that they're in. So the Fair Access to Financial Service proposal by the OCC seeks to provide a better way to evaluate the risk of certain businesses like fintech, exchanges, payment protocols, lending, custody services, and so on. A bank's decision not to serve a particular customer must be based on individual risk management decision about that individual customer, not the fact that the customer operates in an industry. This is actually really big, really huge, and it's not just for crypto, although it's hugely beneficial for crypto, but it also helps. You have all of these uh, um, weed companies, because technically speaking, marijuana is still illegal when it comes to the federal government, but many states have actually allowed it. And so, what is going on? Well, they can't do banking, right? So they have to be an all cash business. Well, having all cash, you might as well just open your doors and invite everybody to come rob you and be like, I got millions back here. Come on in. Having it makes sense. Now, intellectually, individually, what would make sense, in my personal humble opinion, is just put your money in crypto and you don't even have to worry about the banks. But I also understand not everybody is in crypto, which creates challenges, right? And so while you can do a lot of stuff within crypto, I don't know that I would want to spend my Bitcoin necessarily on goods and services, because those goods and services are going to become like the most expensive things I have ever purchased, right? Like that story of the most expensive pizza in the world ever. And so, like, I don't know that I would want to do that. I might want to put it into my treasury, for example, if I was a business. And so, having bank is actually could be a very good thing. But then again, I personally think that banks are, the way that we know them right now, are going to disappear in a few years. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I have no clue how it's going to play out. But just looking at what's going on, crypto is taking off. Central banks are saying we're going to issue our own currencies, and we're going to lend it directly to the people and to the businesses, which makes me think of, well, what is the purpose of a bank then, right? If I can hold my digital money in my digital wallet, and if I can get my loans directly from the Fed, what do I need the bank for? Like, what's the purpose of having them? I don't know. Let me know how you think. Talking about the treasuries, well, corporate Bitcoin treasuries are here, and of course, it's only a good thing. So, holding Bitcoin in a treasury will soon become a corporate standard. And we've all heard the story of Michael Saylor, right? And kind of going in, and MicroStrategy putting in, millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin. And, they have performed really, really well, because when they were purchasing, I want to say it was roughly about like $11,000. So, and now we're sitting at 18,500. So that's a gain of about 7.5 to 8.5 thousand dollars per Bitcoin. And they have like hundreds of them, right? So you can only imagine how much wealthier they are. And of course, if it crashes, then the treasuries kind of go down. But is it going to crash 100%? I don't know. I think that there's too much corporates coming in, not retail right now, although they're coming as well. But a lot of corporate, a lot of large money is coming in, which is basically meaning that it's not going to be as volatile, because once they hodl for a long time. They do a long research. It takes forever for them to get into something, but when they get into it, they hold and hold for forever. Technical reasons for calling Bitcoin an inflation hedge are the infinite, or not infinite, a finite, infinite is fiat, Nev, a finite number in circulation, a dwindling new supply, and of course, BTC seems to replay its past bull run waves post halving, this being the third halving, and boy, it does not disappoint. We are actually seeing the parabolic move kind of come in and take it. Of course, you have a little bit of sideways action, but if you really take a look at the Bitcoin charts, and you can do that, of course, on any charting service. Most people use TradingView just because it gives you a lot of different things. I personally use it as well. You can see it. It goes sideways up, sideways up, sideways up, sideways up. And that's a really good and healthy way for this to kind of move. Could it go down? Yes. Is it going to go down to 3,000? Probably not. Would I personally like it if it did? Yes, I would. Heck, if it would drop back down to a couple of pennies, I'd buy. I'd buy a lot. And I bet you would too, which is why it's not going to dump that low. The world's economies are entering strong expansionary monetary phases. The Everybody's printing, not just US, not just Europe, not just Asia. Everybody around the world is printing. Although there's some sort of pullback and arguments and all of that stuff. And right here in US, we're having all kinds of challenges and issues. Stimulus number two, we've been arguing about it since what, like May? And it's December and we still don't have it, and we're not going to have it in 2020. We may or may not have it in 2021. Who the heck knows? So, you got to do for yourself. Don't wait for your government to do it for you. Not going to happen, and likely you're going to get hurt long term. Bitcoin so far has outperformed every asset class, period, end of story. I think this is where we should end the live stream, but we're not. We are not going to end here because there's more to this stuff. And it has to do with the crypto as a treasury holding. So it's very important. There's a change in ideological bend to the current corporate moves. Of course, when you are a large business, you have treasuries, you have these reserves. So where do you put these reserves? Well, you can put them in a few different things. And Michael Saylor really does an excellent job of explaining kind of how that works and where things play out. So you can do a few different things. You can hold cash, right? And many businesses do hold cash, right? But the cash is problematic because it loses value over time. We all know that. And as they print more, well, heck, it actually prints, it creates a worst case scenario where, your money loses value even faster. So that doesn't make sense long term, right? You can go into the gold. Gold does tend to perform really well in times of uncertainty. You've seen it kind of pumped up. It came to close to about 2,000, maybe a little bit over 2,000, but now we have been sliding down, holding in the high 1,800 levels. So it's done okay, but the challenge with holding gold is that you can hold paper gold, which is highly volatile, but also highly liquid, or you can hold physical, but now you have to deal with storage and storage expenses. In addition to that, there's additional gold that is being mined and added to the pile every year. And now, as we've covered here on Money Matters channel, they are going out and getting ready to go into the space and mine even more of it, which to me personally says this thing is going to be just like fiat, except in yellow color and a shiny little bar. So that may or may not make sense. All right, so that removes two different assets. I guess you can go into holding real estate as a business, but if you're not in real estate as a business, that could get a bit more complex because there's a lot of management and stuff. So it's labor, can be labor intensive and stuff. And yes, you can hire management companies and all of that stuff. But again, you're almost expanding yourself in a different branch of a business. Many businesses don't want to do that stuff. So that eliminates that component as well. And then you go in and say, okay, well, what else is left? You can go and buy your stock back, right? You can acquire another company, which may or may not be a good thing. And you can hold treasuries, right? But treasury yields have been going down. They lose potentially, you can kind of maybe stay flat. And so the only other thing left is, well, crypto. And Bitcoin being the largest, the oldest, the most stable, makes the most sense. And then, of course, you can get into Ethereum if you want to kind of explore the whole, like what's happening in the alt space, and then holding the altcoins, which some of them are actually, once they get into Bitcoin, they understand that, then they expand into Ethereum, which is why I'm really bullish on Ethereum, because if you think about Ethereum hasn't gone in as high up as Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is what? I don't know, a grand, a little bit more than grand away from the all-time high that we've experienced, whereas Ethereum is less than 50% to the all-time high. So the room for Ethereum to go is that much higher, right? And then, of course, what we see with these large corporations, when they go in and adopt Bitcoin as their treasury, then they start looking at the rest of the market. And of course, the next logical thing is Ethereum, right? It just makes sense because a lot of these dApps are built on top of Ethereum. They use the smart contract, so you have to use Ethereum. If you ever want to like launch your app into the space, you have to use Ethereum, right? Like you have to pay for those fees, and it's very interesting. So you watch all these different individuals, like Mike Novogratz, for example, from Grayscale, right? He talks about it as well, where they started with Bitcoin, and they were like, wait a minute, this thing, is super stable, Bitcoin, but Ethereum, boy, that thing could like if Bitcoin can 100x, this thing could 1000x. So that's where I'm excited about that particular thing. And then they start going into the altcoins. So I am beyond excited and bullish on the whole market. Uh, so, of course, they want to have a portion of the treasury held in digital currency that provides a measure of regulatory hedge and arbitrage. And one of the interesting things is because obviously nobody controls the Bitcoin, the blockchain, and stuff, right? Everybody can be part of it, but nobody really controls it. To a degree, I would still argue that miners right now could potentially kind of have some control. But as this space expands, as it grows, as we get more miners, as things kind of end up shifting, that is going to sort of smooth itself out. And of course, I think that that is going to become a huge thing, a absolutely huge thing for Bitcoin. So that's kind of where I see the whole thing going within the Bitcoin space. Now, of course, we also have some news coming in from the Daily Huddle. And this is coming from Anthony Scaramucci, founder of global investment firm Skybridge Capital, a former White House communications director, who's saying that Bitcoin could easily become digital gold and store of value asset. Now, I agree with him, but I do find it kind of funny that he said could become, and I'm thinking it already is, my friend. It already is. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know how you feel about the whole thing. But they are saying they're not necessarily invested into any particular coin at the moment, but they are eyeing different ones, and they're investigating and have been investigating for a couple of years. So like I said, it takes companies a huge amount of time to do this stuff. Once they do it, once they commit, then they start going and buying typically at the OTC, and then they start buying millions. Now, we're going to talk about, now I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're going to talk about the shortage, Bitcoin shortage. So here is a news article from Cointelegraph that talks about the shortage. In a new published report, crypto investment firm Pantera Capital says a Bitcoin shortage is at the heart of the recent price surge, and that the majority of newly minted BTC is being scooped up by PayPal. Merchant is snatching up roughly 70% of all new BTC in circulation. This is huge, absolutely huge. Data suggests that PayPal and Cash App are combined are buying it up and buying everything. And one thing that I think it's interesting to also mention about PayPal is that while you can buy obviously crypto in different methods, right? And most of us go out there and actually buy it on an exchange, and then you get it off of the exchange and put it in your wallet, and we always have this whole thing, right? Not your keys, not your crypto, right? We all agree to that stuff, but PayPal does something different. You can buy it with them, but you can't do anything else with it, right? Like you just can hold, which is a very interesting move. And again, people agree, people disagree, people love it, people hate it, right? It's everybody's entitled to have their opinion. But for me, what is very interesting is that they're doing this, is they're buying a large amount, but who's actually buying it? It's not the individuals who use their phones on PayPal and press the buy button, right? It's PayPal themselves, because they get cash, right? And then they go out there and buy it. So PayPal is actually accumulating BTC on behalf of all other people, but it could be very similar to Robinhood. On Robinhood, for example, you can quote unquote buy crypto, but you're not really buying crypto. You are just betting on the price. You're just buying a derivative of Bitcoin, that if Bitcoin goes up in price, your little account goes up in price, but you're not holding crypto. You are holding a derivative of it, a paper version of it, kind of like holding paper version of gold, right? It's the same kind of interesting concept that is happening. And you can see the super stable thing. Everybody talks about how Bitcoin is super volatile. And it's very interesting to take a look at this chart over here, and obviously you can see that prices have been going up, of course, but the stability of it has been incredible. Everybody's like, ooh, Bitcoin is super super volatile, and it was, and it has been, and it has a potential to be all over again. However, when you compare Bitcoin for what's happening and what's been happening in the stock market, for example, this year only, you can see that Bitcoin is way more stable than the stock market. As crazy as that is, I don't know. Let me know how you feel about the whole thing. And of course, I'm going to end it up with something from the IRS that has to do with the business owners, because some of you might be business owners. Maybe you're a business owner involved with crypto, maybe you're not. But if you had taken the PPP loans, well, the PPP might be painful to you. I don't know. I should come up with the triple P, painfully painful payment. Entrepreneurs who took forgivable loan this year can't write off certain expenses on their taxes if they expect the debt will be forgiven. When the thing rolled out, they said, oh, it's going to be forgiven. You can use it for this, you can use it for this, and then of course you can use the expenses. And now IRS has actually changed the rules that says you can choose. You can either get your PPP loan forgiven if you use 60% or more in the payroll and that kind of stuff, or but you can't use the expenses, right? So all of the expenses that you have accumulated this year, which probably were a lot, you can't use that for deductible and stuff. Or you can basically just not forgive the loan, pay it back, and then you can claim your expenses. The problem with that stuff is that your business might on paper show that you made way more money than you did, and you likely haven't. This, my friends, this is going to shut down even more businesses in the upcoming year. And of course, the recommendation from the accountants, this is not my recommendations, it's from the article from the accountants basically sharing it. So not financial advice, anything I say, not legal, nor accounting advice whatsoever. But what they're recommending is that you file for an extension. As you know, if you are an individual, you have to file by the April 15th or 14th or however it falls, right? If it falls on a weekend. But if you're a business, you have a legal right, as long as you do it by the April deadline, you have a legal right to extend it for 6 months. And they're saying extended for 6 months because Congress potentially could go into a session where they override the IRS rule. Will they do it? Will they not? It's anybody's guess. I have no clue how it's going to play out. But even when PPP rolled out, I said this is ridiculously risky. At the age where everything is falling, they're asking individuals to take a huge risk into borrowing money when there's no chance, no end in the sight of whether this is going to end or not, and how it's going to end, and whether you're going to be able to make money. So there you go. This is where we are today. I appreciate y'all joining me in for the first time ever live. I think it's the first time ever live. I've attempted a few times. It never happened on the YouTube channel. If you have liked any of this stuff, do me a huge favor. Smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, stay forever money blessed, and do remember, you